Hello there Marvel fans, welcome to my channel and Hail Hydra.
If they cut off one head, two more shall take its place. Hail Hydra.
So in this video, my first official video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 villains that I want to see in the new Spider-Man movie. Now, since it was announced that Spider-Man will come back to the MCU, we have been getting lots of rumors. A few says that both Logan Lerman and Dylan O'Brien are in run for Spider-Man. The other, of course, is the always good rumor that J.K. Simmons wants to return as J. Jonah Jameson. But one thing that I'm always curious about is who is the villain going to be? Who will be the new villain? So I made a list of my top 5 favorite choices for that role. Now, keep in mind that I'm going to, because there are a few points here. One, this will only be for the first movie. This will only for the first Spider-Man movie, not the second, the third, or even the fourth, or hell, even the seventh. This will be only for the first movie. And second of all, don't expect to see any villains here that have already appeared early in another movie. So no Venom, no Green Goblin, no Doc Ock, no Sandman, no Lizard, no Electro, no Rhino, well maybe him, but basically not any villain that has already appeared, because I'm tired of the Green Goblin. I don't want to see him again. Same goes for Venom, and I don't care if people say that Marvel will do him right. I don't care about that. I don't want to see them again. I don't care if they're Spider-Man's arch enemy. I don't want to see them again. So don't expect them to see them on this list. Also, a third thing. This will only count for the main villain role, not for side villains, because there are many side villains that can also be used. My favorite choice for side villains are the Shocker and the Rhino, but that's not what this video is about. This is about the big bad, the main antagonist of the movie, not the side villain, not the secondary. I might make a video about secondary options, but for now it's just the main villain. So let's begin. So, number 5 on this list, the Spider Slayer, Alistair Smythe. So, for the idea for me to put Alistair Smythe on this list, it was actually quite unexpected. The reason was that someone that I know on a fan casting site, because I love to fan cast villains, has came up with a great story and draft for the first Spider-Man film. Now this is of course uncanonical and just fan-based, but his idea really stood out to me. He did a great job on it, and it featured Alistair Smythe as the main villain, working together with the Kingpin, portrayed by Vincent D'Onofrio, in the Daredevil series, which will air in just about a month. Now, thanks to him, I really got the idea that Smythe could be a very good candidate. Of course, maybe we can trace it back to the mythos, of course, from his father, Spencer Smythe, and the Spider Slayer robots. Certainly, with Peter Parker already established as Spider-Man for a while in the new Marvel version of the movie and the saga, it could of course be great that Alistair would go seek revenge for his father's death maybe. Maybe his father had an earlier encounter with Spider-Man, and now Alistair seeks revenge. And of course, in great honor to the 90s animated series, he could of course be teaming up with Kingpin. Now we don't know if Kingpin will appear in the Spider-Man movie, but I think it's very possible. Although it seems very unlikely to me personally that they will cross the series with the movies. But in any way, Alistair seems like a very, very good choice for the role. This mostly because of the fact that he is very practical for a first movie and can really do a lot. And of course he's always been one of the most deadly villains, and also one of the most recurring. So he could always return if in another Spider-Man movie or in the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a la Loki or something, because we really need more villains like that, in my opinion, villains that appear for more than one time. And I'm really okay with it. So that's why Alistair is on this list, thanks to a great idea and saw, and Alistair would certainly make a great candidate for the role of the villain of the first Spider-Man movie, created by none other than Marvel. Okay, so the next one is this next one is kind of a long shot, but I think that it really could have potential to make a great villain for the movie. So number 4, Michael Morbius, also known as Morbius the Living Vampire. I have to agree that Morbius is a very unusual choice. He doesn't share the same fame as most Spider-Man villains, like for example the Green Goblin, but certainly to me he's like an interesting choice because bringing him onto the big screen would mean something new. We get to look at something better and something new than, for example, the Green Goblin all the time, or continuous versions of Electro, or who knows, maybe even Doc Ock. Morbius to me would just seem like a more interesting appearance, something different.
And maybe I'm just too nostalgic from too much watching the 90s series, but I really think Morbius would be a great idea to bring about onto the big screen. Not because he has such interesting talent development, but just because he would bring some originality and something new to the Spider-Man movies that we haven't seen before. Now, in all seriousness, I doubt Morbius would be the first choice to go by. I think most first choices would either fall on something more famous, like, for example, Kraven, Doc Ock, or any other member that has been part of a Sinister Six, which Morbius has never been part of. But I still would say that Morbius would get my vote, and I would really like to see him in the new movie. So, please bring about Morbius if they get the chance. And I already know good choices for him to be played.
So this next one is kind of a chip of the old block, so to say. And I thought about a lot about if I want to put this villain on this list, but I think he deserves it, and I think that the big screen debut has been long overdue. So number 3, the Hobgoblin.
The main reason that I picked Hobgoblin for this list is for him to be a departure of the Green Goblin. As many people maybe know, but don't know because I haven't talked about it yet, is I'm really against the Green Goblin reappearing in the new Spider-Man movie. The reason is because I don't want to see the same villain all over again. Hobgoblin would be a different departure from the Green Goblin that is mostly used in the movies. And don't say here and don't go saying that Hobgoblin can't appear without Green Goblin, because in the animated series he came before Green Goblin. So saying that Hobgoblin can't appear without Green Goblin is complete and utter nonsense. Hobgoblin would bring a certain dramatic flair to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if they want to go with a Goblin theme or establish Norman Osborn later on, which I don't have a problem with, honestly, then I think Hobgoblin would be a great choice to go by. I think in some way everything will always be related to OSCORP. And in this case Hobgoblin can be too. Hobgoblin might not share the fame that Norman Osborn has, or the Green Goblin, but he certainly is an interesting character, because for the first 10 years that he was introduced, nobody knew who he was. And maybe could this mystery last on for multiple Spider-Man movies? Now, I don't think that if they do Hobgoblin that he appear in multiple movies at once, maybe go into the first movie, and then the third, and maybe then the fifth, who knows? But I still think that Hobgoblin would be a great choice to play instead of the Green Goblin. That gets my vote.
Next one, number 2. A villain that could potentially be in the Spider-Man saga, the new Spider-Man saga, for the long run. So, number 2, Mac Gargan, aka the Scorpion.
What I mean by this all is that Scorpion can appear for multiple Spider-Man movies, or at least the character of Mac Gargan can appear. Mac Gargan is mostly known for the Scorpion, but he has also been the third incarnation of Venom. So if they want to use Venom later on, instead of Eddie Brock, they can also go to Mac Gargan, because when Mac Gargan had the symbiote, he was even more deadly than ever before. But the thing is, Scorpion has just always been a powerful villain of Spider-Man, one of the more bigger ones to my knowledge. In the first place, I thought of him as a possible villain for the second movie, but I think he can, just like Loki, can be a recurring villain, that he appears on and off. For example, he can be absent from one movie and then appear in the other. For example, he can appear in the first movie as the Scorpion, and then in the third movie he can become the Venom character. Because everyone wants to see a Venom again, but except for me, I don't want to see Venom again. But I really think that Mac Gargan, aka the Scorpion, will be a great and powerful foe to face for Spider-Man. He is one of the most biggest enemies, to my opinion, that Spider-Man has ever faced. Although not one of the most deadly, unless of course Mac was bonded with the symbiote, he is still a powerful foe to face and something to definitely watch out for. So therefore, Scorpion is on this list.
So here it is, my number 1 favorite choice for the villain of the Spider-Man movie, the new rebooted Spider-Man. A villain that has long been overdue for an appearance on the big screen and is made for the big screen in its entirety. So number 1, Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio.
My number 1 choice for the villain role, and that is Quentin Beck, Mysterio. Mysterio to me is a villain that is just made for the big screen, and is certainly one of my most favorite Spider-Man villains. Mostly also because of his appearance in the animated show, and of course just how cool he looks, and how amazing his powers is. Now he doesn't have any actual powers, but certainly he is the kind of guy who can make use of anything and use it against his enemies. Mysterio has always been a fan favorite for a movie appearance. He is just made for the big screen. He is made to appear, and I think wholeheartedly that he should appear, especially in this movie. He can always work together with OSCORP, he can always work together, or he will just do it on his own and have revenge against Spider-Man for something Spider-Man has done, for example, and his stuntman career. Whatever the case might be, Quinton back is a must for a new Spider-Man movie, and I stand firmly behind that until the very end. Mysterio should be the villain in the Spider-Man movie, no questions asked at all.
So that was my list of my top 5 villains that I want to see in the Spider-Man reboot. So let me know, what villain would you like to see in the new Spider-Man film, and for what reason? Why would you like, for example, to see Silvermane, the Jackal, or maybe you would like to see Daredevil's Kingpin make an appearance, which I think is very possible. Homage to the old 90s series. That were good times. So let me know, what villain do you want to see in the Spider-Man film? So let me know. And if you want me to do a second part for the main villain for a second Spider-Man movie, let me know in the comments down below. So until the next time, well, see you later and Hail Hydra.